Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Intimate group post Thanksgiving. All right. So, what do we got going today? Well, so here's what we got. I have a lesson for you that you should be paying attention to something that happened yesterday that you won't impact you at all, that it will impact you. We'll talk about that. Also, I've been pressing the group around the energy dial for a little bit, but I'm going to shift your perspective and thinking because I know that this is a time of year of burnout and people feel as if they're on a hamster wheel. And I'm going to share with you something at the very end that will then lead us into, for those that desire to build a vision board, we're going to build vision boards in this space right afterwards. But I'm going to kind of set you up for what that is and what we're going to be talking about. Cool? And then we're also going to get some perspective from your peers, from 3 of your peers around a recent experience they had. Sound good? Love it. Let's rock and roll. All right. So first things first, mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. Something I want to touch on is lives are worth living and experiences worth giving. The way this shows up for us, and that we try and signal that for the group, is a holiday party that's coming up on Thursday night. It really is one of the best events a year. And the reason I know that is because we have roughly 670 people who have RSVP'd. And it's the highest engaged event that we have over the entire year of everything we do. And I would say that every year the team try and thinks and curates and cultivates a different experience for the agents in a way where you guys can have a ton of fun. And for you to show your guest, partner, spouse, significant other, the community you're a part of professionally. And that for them to meet people, meet connections, so on and so forth. And a couple of thoughts for you. Okay. When I was a young buck, my early 20s, I worked at, it was Miller Brewing Company, which is now Molson Coors. And I worked in the alcohol business for about 10 to 15 years. And in the alcohol business, alcohol is readily available everywhere you turn. Okay. And my boss at the time, who was in his mid-50s, pulled me aside before my first company holiday party, put his arm around me as a 22-year-old kid working in the alcohol business, fresh out of Madison, with piss and vinegar, really excited. And he said, "Charlie, careers are never made at the holiday party, but careers are ended at the holiday party." So I share that with you in the way of, we want you to have fun. The leadership team as a whole has curated a really special experience for the group. And let's make sure that we keep it between the lines. If you need a ride home, tap me on the shoulder and I will personally pay for your Uber. If you are uncomfortable, come find someone in the leadership team and we're happy to intervene. I'm not anticipating these things, but it's just a way of to say, like, we want people to feel comfortable and have a ton of fun in an appropriate manner. Okay. The second piece of it that I want to make sure I address is I'm very cognizant at this time of year. There can be a lot of social anxiety for those that choose not to drink. Okay. The entire event, there are mocktails at every beverage station. There's plenty of NA and non-alcoholic options. We have a handful of ambassadors, Zach Shipley being one of them, Peter Gossman, who have volunteered that, like, if you need a buddy or a partner the evening of and be able to enjoy the experience, in a safe manner, like, plenty of people are willing to help you. And we've been very cognizant to try and curate an event where you absolutely can have a ton of fun drinking, and you don't have to have a ton of fun. You can have a ton of fun not drinking. So there's the casino tables, there's the Packer game, and we have lots of NA options for those that choose not to participate in that activity. Is that cool? Outside of that, we have carving stations. There will be hosted cocktails as you enter when you check in at registration. Have fun at the casino tables. It's all fun and games, and the Packer game should be really freaking awesome because it's a huge game. Cool. Any questions there? Sweet. The only other thing from a logistics standpoint is we are going to close the offices at 3 o'clock on Thursday because our leadership teams need to get home, changed downtown to be there early to help set up to welcome you into the event. Cool?
Cool.
Awesome. Any questions? Where's it at? Fister, the P Fister. Which, has anybody not been to the P Fister? Okay, here's the one thing about the P Fister. It's the Fister, but I call it the P Fister. The Fister Hotel at the holidays is exceptionally decorated. It really puts in the holiday spirit, and we're really excited to host it. So looking forward, if you haven't RSVP'd, just show up. We'll have fun. Cool? Sweet. All right. Next, if you moved in 2023, because several of you did, and or you moved in 2024, we would love for you to notify front desk 1063@kw.com because Michelle and the team has begun preparing tax settlement statements in terms of expenses, your 1099s, all those sorts of things. And 1099s in particular are sent to your personal home addresses. So if you did move in 23 or 24, if you wouldn't mind letting the leadership team know so that we can appropriately get you the information. Cool? Sweet. Next up, industry news. Now, this is what I was getting to, that something happened yesterday that doesn't directly impact you, but will indirectly impact you. And you might be surprised at what I'm about to share with you, okay? But stay with me here because this is how you, if you pay enough attention as to what's going on around you, you can decipher information or meaning as to what's going to happen to you locally. Yesterday, there was a very big announcement in the real estate world. Encompass acquired At Properties and Christie's International. At is one of the largest independent brokerages in downtown Chicago, might be the largest. It's the 8th largest independent in the country. They, a few years ago, partnered with Christie's to expand their presence. Compass acquired them yesterday for nearly $500 million. A shitload of money. Okay? $500 million in an environment that is operating transactionally very similarly to the environment we were in 09, 10, 11. Now, what is the lesson in this? Yes. Someone sees value. What's the value? Yes. Robbie, thank you. Here's what this signals to me. Compass doesn't make this move in the environment that we are in right now if they don't believe the market's going to be rebounding over the next 5 years. Typically, term sheets like this have a 5-year payout period. And they wouldn't do a deal this significantly large across the landscape of the US if they didn't believe the industry tide was going to continue to rise and that they could recoup or recapture the revenue in order to pay that $500 million. Does that make sense? I look at a deal like this and I think I look at it from the lens of this is fantastic. Very positive in terms of the trends of the industry. And I always pay attention as to who's doing deals at the end of the year within the real estate space and what we can learn from the deals that are being had. And this one in particular, because it hits so close to home, is a great signal because it's a very significant transaction and they wouldn't be taking this risk if they thought that the tide was going to be going the other way over the next 5 years. Okay? Just something that like I share with you my perspective when I see these deals come across my email of like, okay, how should we be reading this deal? Instead of like, oh my gosh, this, that, or the other. No, the signal is the tide should continue to rise over the next 5 years. Otherwise, Compass doesn't make this significant of a bet. And I think that that's really positive news for our industry. And this really doesn't impact our market locally per se, but it's just there's good lessons to be learned in deal activity like this. Cool? Comments, questions? Robbie, high five. Are you participating? Good? Yeah, Scott.
There's one thing to realize too with this company. They were one of the few that haven't settled. So
Yep.
they got their get out of jail free card. And I think there's going to be agents and teams that are, they're seeing this new environment and they're like, hey, I've been doing real estate long enough. I'm just going to let it go. And I just think if we stick to our guns, we'll gain market share because realtors are at an all-time high right now. And I think if we just continue to do what we do, we're gonna take market share. I think this, not at that scale, but that will happen.
Yeah, I think it's all positive news, and it's just the lessons we can learn in deal activity. And what does the deal activity tell you? Now, if you were to go back 3 years, M&A activity within our space was non-existent, really, really quiet. And again, the reason I pay attention to the M&A deal activity on a national basis is it tells us how people are feeling about trends because they're scaling back on deal activity. It means that they're entering a bear market, which is what we've been in for all intents and purposes for the last 3 years in real estate. Cool, sweet. All right. So with that handful of people to welcome, first up, and I don't, Maisha, welcome, Maisha. I wanted to make sure I appropriately said that. Josh Spano, welcome. He's in the back of the room. I see him over there. And then Christina Boris, welcome to KW, guys. All right. With that, a few people to recognize and congratulate. One, Kathy, first closing. Congrats. Graduating from the PC program, Tabitha Roman. And celebrating a handful of cappers because we were a little off schedule with the way November came up. So we're just backtracking here a little bit. Congrats to Alan Jasperson for capping. Congrats to Alfredo for capping. Mike, where Alfredo in today? I just saw that yesterday. Congrats to Alfredo, who's expecting. I think that I'm not breaking any news. I saw that on Facebook. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Congrats to Emily Walzak for capping in the month of October. Tanner Smith, ladies and gentlemen. And a little bit of October recognition to help you understand. Now, I want you to think about recognition in this way. Inspiration and aspiration. Who are you inspired by and who do you aspire to be? That's the purpose of why we do the October results, is who is it that you are inspired by and who do you aspire to be, and learn what it is that they do in order for them to find success. So the award levels you can see here. First up, top profit share earner in the month of October. Shout out to Jay Krickberg. Next up, PC monthly for October is Marcos Beltran. Congrats. Highest growth achievement year to date is Alexandra Matthew, Carly Tatum, Kathy Schultz, Emily Walzak, Tanya, Rebecca Jasperson, Andrea Smith, Stacy Perko, Tabitha, and Lauren. Congrats, the highest percent change year to date. And $1 Million Month Club for the month of October. You got Katie Ninkovic, Emily, Matt Sheehan, Joe Singsheim, Dawn Shipley, Tony and Charisse, Dan, James Krickberg, Alex, Jeremy, Chris Gebert, Karen Nemeth, Al Frankenberger, Jay Krickberg, Royce, and Brad Parent, rounding out $1 Million Month. Top close volume for October for individuals. Katie Ninkovic leading the way. Emily right on her heels. Karen, Al Frankenberger, Royce, Terry Lewis, and Carly Tatum rounding out. Teams, Reliance and Callis. Ooh, Callis right on his heels. And groups, you got Lifetime, Krickenberg, Medina, Mindbright, Level Up, All In, Outdoor Dreams, rounding out top close volume for the month of October. Now, individual year to date, Katie leading the way, Emily right on her heels, Terry Lewis coming in, Steph Sosa, Dana Lazich, Sarah Papp, Nicole, Royce, Pat, Karen Nemeth rounding it out for year to date. Team year-to-date volume, Baumgartner Group, Callis, Wisconsin Premier Realty, and Reliance coming in as for team year-to-date. And then group year-to-date, Lifetime surpassed Krickenberg's, Mindright, Level Up, and Medina rounding it out for team so far. And just like stoking the fire a little bit because I know those guys like going battling back and forth.
I just like mind right more than I just like.
Hey, it's mine right.
Yeah.
Yeah, fix that mind.
It's a three-way race.
Yeah.
Really have.
It'll come down the wire just like last year. Just like
Yeah.
last year.
Tony's already planning all those excludeds that no one knows about. Getting them right at the last minute. Top closed units year to date. Again, agents control their units. The market gives you volume. So as you focus on your activities, focus on your unit activity, and set your goals based on your units because the market will give you volume, which by the way, I saw a presentation Monday that they're expecting appreciation on in the state of Wisconsin, up 5.5% to 6% again next year. We'll see how that impacts us locally here in southeastern Wisconsin, but that was a presentation from the WRA that they're expecting. So here's top closed units so far year to date. All right. Switching gears a little bit, I want to recap something quickly with three of our peers. If Tanner, Carly, and Tony don't mind coming up real quick. While they're coming up, I just want to recap something. For 2024, Bold was 6 weeks this year. We had 133 agents participate. It was the largest Bold room we've ever hosted. There were 17 teams, and in 6 weeks, they did 246 new listing agreements. They had 557 new buyer agency contracts signed, and they put 311 units under properties under contract. Okay. The reason why I share this with you is this, and I'm going to help you understand where your mind should be for 2025 and why Bold is important in helping you set up your first quarter of success. Bold gives you momentum heading into the first quarter. We talked about this a lot. If you miss your first quarter, you can't hit your annual goals because not enough deal flow in the fourth quarter to make up for this first quarter. And there's an element in working and leveraging the energy and the unison of the community of how we stay in productivity during a time when the market really is slowing down. And how do we stay focused on our activity and deal flow in order to build momentum? Because momentum carries into the next year, which is why we always do it in the fall. And the results speak for themselves. For those that were in the room, these are incredible results over the past 6 weeks. We felt it in terms of the productivity of the associates, and it carries into first quarter. So with that, I asked these guys to jump up here, and here was the end of the Bold room, 133 people with Coach Amber. Now, can I just ask a quick question? Did we appreciate Coach Amber?
She was
Great.
You really loved her energy?
Mhm.
All right. I've been running 8 Bolds. I've never been asked to have a repeat Bold coach before in my career. Everyone was like, oh, that was great. And I'm ready for a new voice. I may have struck a deal with Amber to come back for 2025. So stay tuned. It didn't snow while she was here, which helps from someone who lives in Florida. But stay tuned for that. And I just share with you, I thought it was an incredible experience, and I'm excited to see the results people have starting up in the first quarter. So with that, I asked these guys just to share a little bit about their perspective of the Bold room this year, some of their actionable takeaways that they plan to implement in 25, or was there a mindset reset that they had in experiencing Bold content, because all of them have done it at various stages of their careers, is what is an actionable content and what is might be a mindset shift that they took away from the content that they can share with the group today. And I'll work ladies first. Carly, how about your thoughts?
I loved Amber, just to say that again. But I think this time it was definitely a mindset shift for me. This was the first time that I did like a real business plan. So I do appreciate that we did the business planning clinic within that. I think it helped me. Last year was my first time doing Bold, and I kind of, this year I came in like excited and like, okay, I know that I'm just gonna find 2 or 3 things that I want to implement, and I think the business plan helped. And then a lot of it was also just thinking about, I know one of my biggest ones is your network is your net worth. That's one of the Bold truths. And that's something that I kind of was just thinking about, and making sure that I'm building key relationships in every aspect of my life, because it'll benefit me personally and in my business. But the thing that I specifically implemented during the 6 weeks and still now is like staying on my 411. I've always done it, but I've just done it for the quarter and then I don't look at it until next quarter. But this time I fill one out every single week. And I make sure that it's on my calendar. I know Amber said that she sends it to her admin. I have a VA now, so I just send mine to her when we meet every Monday. So that we can make sure everything that's on my 401 is on what's on my calendar. So it's helped me stay on track for my end of the year goals this year.
And I think the importance in what Carly shared was the consistency to the approach, right? Like take your health, for example. You can't expect to be the epitome of health if all you do is eat poor nutritiously and you don't do anything physically. It just doesn't work. It's when you do something consistently over time and what you track ultimately improves is basically kind of Carly, your takeaway and understanding your numbers and business planning and then heading into the bowl of like, how do I effectively see this through on an annualized basis and what do I need to do weekly in order for this to come to fruition? Love it. Thanks for sharing, Carly. Tanner, how about you?
Yeah, no, Amber was great. They revamped the curriculum, which was really nice. Because I think, like she said, I was overwhelmed the first time. I mean, it's a lot of information being thrown at you, and I really didn't want to do that whole. How many contacts do you have to make to have how many of this to make this amount of money? Like I've done that a time, so we did a whole bunch of different stuff, and I think the real value of it was kind of the breadth of the stuff they covered, like buyers, sellers, mindset, all that good stuff. And I think there was at least one like actionable item per topic, like that you're like, wow, I never would have thought about that. Something that I want to get better at that was brought up was there's some people that do some really neat things. I don't remember what they called it in bold, but it's like suspending the surprise or whatever, where you have a buyer and maybe you give them a gift at a certain point, or you have cleaners come out before they even get to the property or whatever. Something that I want to implement into my business because I work with primarily buyers. Even like the seller stuff, I've sold a couple of houses, but it's not really up my wheelhouse. But all the really good ideas that I had, I could share with my team, and I think that was valuable for them. So.
Yeah, it's the activation of surprise and delight.
Mhm.
And how do you create experiences in the unexpected moments? Love it. Mr. Gene Greco, you've been a bold veteran. What was your takeaway this year that was different from last?
On the technical side, I was really excited to see how much time they spent on social media and intentional, like tactical, activities that they forced you into activity mode right then and there. For those of you that were old, they made you like get up, grab a partner, do a video, post it. And a lot of us are on social media, but I think we all, to a certain extent, lack attention on social media. Is very reactive. It's like, oh, I just gotta get this post out, or I just gotta do this video, to get some views or to get some likes or whatever. And when we started applying the actual loafers or call to action and seeing the engagement, the organic engagement of people commenting and then your ability to comment back and create that conversation was really, really cool. So that was like the tactical thing that I thought was great, and creating social media calendars, a big rock for me going into Q1. In the mindset, I was really happy that they led the first session with happiness as a choice. It's such an important aspect, I think, personally and professionally, that we don't talk about enough, and we don't spend enough time like encouraging each other. There's a lot of miserable people out there. Like for real. Like we work with them every day, right? And you're just like, oh my God, why are you so angry and unhappy about everything? But it starts with us. It starts with like focusing on being the happiest, healthiest versions of ourselves and knowing that can positively impact and set the example for the rest of the industry. So that was a big thing. I love the fact that was the bold truth number one. Happiness is a choice. Using that.
Totally. And I think kind of to piggyback off of what Tanner shared and what Tony shared is I think sometimes our industry loses sight of the fact that like 20 dials, 100 dials, do this, do that, make phone calls. And everyone's like, I don't really want to make a phone call, or I love phone calls, or whatever it might be. And it's finding the intention and purpose of how you're making meaningful connections with people. And I think that this year's Bold Room, the way that showed up was social media posts, sending videos of gratitude to someone that meant something to you. It was trying to show you that there's multiple ways to skin a cat, and it doesn't just have to be smile and dial, smile and dial, smile and dial, right? So I wanted to share a little bit of perspective around what the group went through, and there was 133 associates in the room, and how that energy kind of cultivates productivity and success moving forward. And wanted these guys to share their experiences with you today. So cool, awesome, thanks, guys. Sweet. With that, Defender Dawn.
Awesome. You guys know what CEs do?
What is CE?
Oh.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh.
I don't know acronyms.
11 days, if I did my math right.
11.
11 days. So if you haven't started it, you should do that right now. So do your CE. So get that on your calendar. You got 11 days. They're excited about CE.
Wow, I never knew CE was so exciting.
CE. And Sarah has probably been emailing you as well if you have not done your CE and they've not sent your renewal in, and if you haven't done your GR, she's got a spreadsheet of all of that information. So just make sure when you do that, send her your receipt so that she can take you off of the list and you don't get those emails anymore. The other thing to mention is I had a great question the other day, and it is a good reminder that, hey, some of us probably have buyer agency agreements that are still active from before the time of the NAR settlement. So the change that happened in August, if you have buyers that maybe signed something, they haven't started looking for a home, and now they're actively looking, remember that there is that commission disclosure form that if you still have a active buyer agency agreement with somebody signed on the old form, there was that kind of placeholder update form. It's not the compensation agreement form, it's the disclosure form to bring that buyer agency agreement up to date with the new forms. So if you have anybody still on those old forms, you are still gonna be asked to fill that out. It's in zip form still. So it's just between you and the buyer. It's just, showing that you have told them that compensation is negotiable, and so a couple of the other changes that were in the new buyer agency agreement. So it's just my
Sweet.
reminder. That's it.
Yes.
Real quick, I looked at that form yesterday.
Yeah.
In the forms and I could not find it, but
Okay.
I did find it on our.
Okay.
But I swear it was there before,
It was there. I'll double check too. I'll see. Sometimes,
but it wasn't under Keller Williams, it's under the. Temporary. I don't know, I looked through there like.
that's good to know. That's good to know. Maybe I'll also email it out again if it has not. And that way, if anybody does need it, still we've got it. Sometimes the searches.
Real
Here.
quick, one other thing that I would just be remiss if I didn't bring up too, because we had this scenario play out, and you shouldn't be surprised that this actually happens. We've had agents doing a deal with a KW associate using forms pre-August of 24. Okay, just make sure you're double checking that you and your co-brokers are using the appropriate forms and they're not pre-populating old forms as we head into the end of the year. Cool. Last thing, because this will be a good reminder, when is CE renewal and all that due? December 14th. You're all in. Okay, so here's the deal. On December 20th, don't email Dawn and say, I can't access the MLS. What the heck? You laugh.
No.
It happens every other year. I don't understand what happened. I can't access the MLS. My safe search is December 14th. Get it done. Cool. All right. Sweet. Thanks, Dawn. All right, training and education, couple items. December training calendar is out. One of the things I did want to point out is just a few reminders for the group. At the top of all the training calendars is a color-coded list based on if anything is live in person with the location it lives or sits in. We've now added the Prestige training calendar to this too. And a lot of this is just making sure that you have access to anything that's going on in any market center, you have access to any day of the week. We want you comfortable using any of the other facilities and or learning from any of the people in any of our KW Milwaukee environment. Case in point, I know a week or two ago, Bruce Gallagher hosted Selling Luxury Lakefront Properties. There was about 50 to 60 people out in Lake Country. Half of them weren't from the Lake Country area, but they wanted to learn from Bruce. I want to make sure that you guys know that you have access to all that stuff at any time. You can see, please make sure that you pay attention. The way that the Christmas holiday falls this year, it's in the middle of the week on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and I never make my team have the Christmas night scaries and have to show up at 8 a.m. the next day after Christmas. So we will close the offices on the 26th as well. That just so happens that it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have access to the offices 24/7. Cool. One thing I do want to point out too is this Friday, Keller Williams Luxury is hosting the 4 essential pillars to growing your luxury business. Brady Sandall, who leads the luxury community, is absolutely exceptional. And I don't say that lightly. Truly exceptional. If you want to learn more about that, they're having growing your luxury business this week, Friday from 9 to 3, and it's a virtual class. Cool. Sweet. Today, right after team meeting, I'm going to kind of set the stage for it shortly. But we're going to be doing vision boards. I started mine this morning. I'm going to maybe hopefully finish mine this afternoon with anybody who wants to hang out. I'm a big believer in vision boards, and here's the impetus to it. When I was a kid, my mom really made me do a vision board every year. And it would be like, I want to win the Little League World Series. I want to, I don't know, do all these different sports things or whatever. And as you grow, you figured it out. And as a kid, I always said it was a stupid art project. As an adult, I understood that my mom was trying to help me manifest what it is that I visually desired to achieve. Okay. And the power of manifestation is incredible, because the days you feel burnt out, or the days you feel like you're down and kicked, or the days you feel like you're out and you show up to your office, or you show up to your bathroom and it's on your mirror, or you show up wherever it is that you see it every day, helps give you the gas in your fuel tank to keep going. It's really powerful. If you study anything about professional sports and how they talk about how mental health is a huge thing right now in professional sports, and what they're doing is they're talking professional athletes into helping them, seeing them achieve winning the gold medal in the Olympics or what it might be, is the power of visualization and how it helps people. It's the power of a very simple activity of the vision board. And I'm going to be sitting in here for about the next hour and a half building that with anybody who desires to do that heading into 25, and to have a conversation about real estate or whatever else that you want to talk about. Cool. Sweet. Yes, Mr. Gene Greco.
So just for anyone that is not real crafty or it's not their thing, there's also really cool like digital resources out there now where you can upload pictures and put them on a vision board and print it off. So that's also something if you can't do it today or you're not big into cutting it. So.
Yeah. And I would tell you, it's odd how it happens. Like, I would say 80% of my vision board every year comes to fruition. And it's unintentional because I look at it every day. There are things that happen, and a lot of it's personal. I wanted to have more kids. All of a sudden I had 4 kids. Like, whatever it might be. But my point to it is like, I'll just share it. Like,
they just show up.
I don't know how they got here. But I say that with you in a light moment to say, like, my focus next year is like eating healthier, focusing on my physical fitness. I went to a presentation that I'll share a little bit of details too recently, where they talked about negative affect and how leaders and people who achieve a lot of success deal with a lot of negative affect. And how do you manage that negative affect is through your spiritual well-being and your physical well-being and your nutritional well-being, and how they all play a part in how you manage negative energy. In a world where negative energy is robust, how you handle that so that you can be the best version of yourself. Vision boards is another example of that. That's a lot of what's on my vision for next year. So, little cue for vision boards. Holiday parties this week, Thursday at the P. Pfister. Offices will close at 3. And then the 4th annual Christmas cocktail party is December 10th.
And I do need to talk.
Yes.
Really?
Mrs. Krickenberg Claus, everybody.
And that's me. Do I point that out every time? That is not good. It is.
It's your birthday?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
That's
boy.
the big birthday party I'm throwing, so that's cool. Anyways, I want to thank Brooke who helped get like the invite out and the spreadsheet for signing up. I mean, this has been so helpful. She's awesome. You guys are just rocking it. If you looked at this the sign up lately, it's fabulous. Everybody's pitching in. So there's gonna be a lot of food. Shout out to Lynn from Focus because they're going to start us out with a base. We're going to have some pizzas, to start with, and everybody else is kind of filling in with really hearty appetizers and snacks. The food's going to be in that large conference room where a lot of the closings are, right by the front desk there. We're gonna eat right away as soon as the meeting's done. So the meeting's, noon to 1:05, we'll be downstairs. So we're gonna eat first and then, and Lynn has also donated some soda. And so, to kind of stick with what you were saying, it's not all about the cocktails. That if you, and do have like a mock cocktail kind of drink you want to share, that would be awesome, and have a little area for it, that'd be cool. So please check out the sign up and just think outside the box, bring something, it'd be awesome. We are playing the White Elephant game in some way, shape, or form. We're gonna expedite it. Brooke and I are thinking, we were kindergarten teachers, Brooke and I, so we are gonna see what we can do to like get this going a little bit. So it's a $25 value, wrapped, bring a wrapped gift. Put it on the table, there'll be a table, we'll find one, and we'll go from there, but we're hoping to expedite it, so we're not here till like 10 o'clock, opening presents, so, and then, we're gonna, just any questions on it, just.
If you haven't participated in it, it's incredible energy, really
Yeah,
fun, and
It's fun.
Mrs. Krickenberg Claus does a nice job.
Oh, yes, I think that is the ugly Christmas sweater day. So yes, please like wear the ugliest Christmas sweater that you can possibly find. That will just add to the merriment and it'll be fun. Anything else? So don't eat lunch, please do not. I don't want to see you up here with your little lunch during the meeting because there's gonna be a ton of food and we want you all to eat, especially if you are going to have an adult beverage that's loaded. So we want to make sure that you eat all afternoon. And there'll be no like hiding out in someone's office doing any.
Why are you looking at us?
Let's just say that might have happened one year. They
Well,
all
that was-
went,
When we were,
Had a
that was
pregame.
after the team meeting, waiting for the party. to
that
start.
was.
Yeah, that was our,
They
were
that was our
tailgating.
happy
Once the
hour
party
for
started,
the cocktail
We
party.
came to the party, but we pregame.
Risk mitigation. Uber home if you need to Uber.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you, everyone. We look forward to next weekend. I will be accepting birthday presents.
I was gonna do this at the end, but she's kind of helping me bridge a gap real quick. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention, Brooke, who's been a great member of our team, is transitioning into a new role or has transitioned into a new role with the Smiths now post Thanksgiving. Brooke has navigated a lot of changes. We've figured out what's going on, different leaders coming and going, and Brooke's been a really steady force in that. And when you lead real estate agents, I would imagine it's very similarly to leading a kindergarten class. And Brooke, I just want to say on behalf of myself and the rest of the leaders, thank you for everything you did for Southwest. And she's not going far. She's going like 20 yards down the hall. So I'd be remiss if I didn't share that. In the meantime, Wooten and Tanika Allen are kind of bouncing back and forth at the Dofi role. And while we dial that in, and that Wooten and I are actively interviewing people for the Dofi role, we have some really talented people that we've been in contact with. And we'll have the team, a really, really strong team in place. Stay tuned for us for some exciting announcements. Hint, hint, be here on December 17th. That's all you need to know. Cool? Awesome. Any questions there? Awesome. All right. Chipley, Rainbow and YP happy hour on the 11th?
Good, so, I don't know, if anybody was here like a year ago, remember, we know it's been a huge push for KWYP, all these people signed up, and then a lot of people, like, not so necessarily in Smart Center, outside of Market Center, kind of stopped attending stuff. And so the YP, I think kind of started to fall apart a little bit. And at the same time, this last year, we've started to push Rainbow Network, which is good for LGBTQ agents as well as allies. And so I threw together a little happy hour for anybody who's interested in either joining or participating with either of these plans. You don't have to be a member of either group in order to attend. You just show up. Whether I prefer to have an RSVP ahead of time, just so we can have a good head count. Gustavo and Focus Title are sponsoring, so your first round is covered, and it's a nice space at Urban Harvest, Fifth Ward. So I appreciate anybody who wants to come by. We'd love to see you there.
Love it. Thanks for doing that. One other thing too, just for those that are in and around the YP space, the YP Advance is next May in Chicago. If interested in attending, I'm personally will be there along with several others I know. So it's a really quick Amtrak ride down and back. So if interested, just wanted to put that on people's radar as well. All right. And then Ignite is coming back. The most recent Ignite we ran here in the Southwest Market Center training room, and we will be running it back in January in the North Shore training room. It will be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to noon. Here's what I tell you about Ignite. It does not need to mean it does not mean you have to be new in order to participate. We've had Ross Trefferts in the room. Ross has participated a lot, even though he's had a lot of success, because he does it to learn from a variety of people and diversified thought and approach. What makes Janine great at her listing presentation? What makes Amanda Schroeder great? What makes Jean Greco's great? What makes Emily Fair do balance between two markets? And the idea behind Ignite is to learn from those that are doing it in a variety of ways, is what that you can learn from them to implement it. And if there's a day or a particular presenter that you want to participate in, show up. But those that desire to take Ignite the entire course, which I highly recommend, it's the best ROI you can do because it's free 99, and every deal you do after that is incremental return. It's really good use of your time, energy, and resources. So that's coming back January 8th. And then lastly, a little plug ahead is February 17th to the 21st in Vegas is Family Reunion. Last year, we had 72 people from the Milwaukee area attend Family Reunion. It's a great networking opportunity. Great way to build your referral network along with a really great training and education content. And I can tell you that there's several within our KW Milwaukee community that have already been asked to speak on stage, which is always really exciting to see your peers up on stage, but highly recommend the Family Reunion experience. Cool. All right, now I'm going to shift last 5-ish minutes into lessons in the market of the moment. Okay, and it's going to set the stage for those that desire to build a vision board, to hang out and build a vision board, or if you do it digitally offsite, totally cool too. But here's what I want to shift your mindset and perspective on. Okay. The last couple of weeks, I've been pressing you guys on the energy dial. Where are we at the time of year based on deal flow and deal activity in the macro environment? And what are we paying attention to? Because I told you I would will you in productivity November through February, when typically most people, the deal flow is the lowest and most people like to unplug and take off. And yet there's a way to find balance in that so that you can separate yourself, because separation is in the preparation. And now the best time to do that is when people are coming together for holiday events, a variety of different family events, whatever it might be. And I also recognize, quick show of hands, because this is a good participation group, how many people also feel burned out? You can totally be okay in saying yes. Perfect. Okay. Here's what I want to talk about based on where we are right now, not about more deal flow, more deal flow, more deals, more deals. I want to shift the focus on the whole person and think about why it is that you're burned out, and how does a vision board or how do the activities we do from goal setting participate in mitigating burnout. Cool. So a few weeks ago, I went to a presentation down at the Art Museum by a really incredible gentleman, and his name is Arthur Brooks. And Arthur Brooks is a social psychologist at Harvard University Business School. And in his presentation, it was all around building a life that gets better with age. And he wrote a book that's really phenomenal. I highly recommend you read it. It's called From Strength to Strength, Finding Success, Happiness, and Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Life. Okay. What I did is I just took 4 little nuggets from his presentation that I attended on a Tuesday in November to bring back to you as you think about where you are, if you feel like you've been on, hamster on a wheel. Okay. And how do I set myself up heading into 2025? And here are 4 seeds I want to plant with you heading into the year. First, Professor Brooks, or Dr. Brooks, said this: the ultimate enterprise in life is what is the end game? And the end game for everybody is finding true happiness. Happiness consists of 3 components: enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. The ultimate enterprise in life is finding happiness, not material items, not immediate gratification, And it's finding enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning in what it is that you do personally and professionally. Second seed I'd plant with you, and this we really, I would say, struggle from within our industry, is we have to be cognizant and aware of the striver's curse. Okay? And the striver's curse is this: the more successful you are, the more challenging happiness becomes, because the burden of achievement is hard to live up to. And for those that have been doing this business for a while, here's where this shows up. You're here in December when deal activity is low. You've been running all year, you've had a great year, and yet you feel like you just like, what did I accomplish? Even though you had, I would say, productivity-wise success. And January rolls around, everybody's ticker goes back to 0, and you wake up the first week of January and you're like, okay, I got to do this again. Right? Can anybody relate to that? That is the epitome of striver's curse, the burden of achievement. Okay? And so the third thing he talked about a lot of things in 90 minutes. I'm just boiling it down to what I think is appropriate for where we are right now. Is burnout is because one loses progress, lack of meaning, or both. Burnout occurs because there is lack of progress, lack of meaning, or both. So how does this show up, and why does it show up in November and December in particular for high successful real estate agents? You've been used to running on a treadmill, having a lot of deal activity, a lot of deal flow, working with clients. You get energy from the deal activity and deal flow, and then all of a sudden November and December hit, and deal activity, deal flow, and client interaction slows immensely. And so what happens for people who are used to high levels of success and achievement, that lulls in the period of our deal flow and activity is actually what is creating lack of progress, which is why you guys wake up sometimes and say, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm burnt out, right? And it gets back to, this is the time of year when we have to get back to, how are we finding enjoyment in what we do? What is the satisfaction in what we do? And what is the meaning and purpose of why we do it? Okay. And how that shows up for you is actually how it gives you the fuel to continue and to find balance in what you're doing. Not, I need to unplug and ignore everything and then come back and feel overwhelmed because I ignored everything. It's how do we stay centered around our enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning, and that the progress we make is the activities we do, which ultimately shows up 90 days later, right? And here's the last little nugget I would share with you from his presentation. Is in a society that loves instant gratification, loves material items, loves perception is not always reality, especially in a day in social media, is don't polish your leaves, fertilize your roots. And I alluded to this concept of negative affect. We take on other people's stresses, energies, we take on our co-broke stresses and energies. And how do we spiritually, physically, mentally, nutritionally, how do we manage our negative affect so that we're fertilizing our roots, not polishing our leaves? And a lot of that has to do with the quality of the content you consume. A lot of that has to do with how you spend your time. And he shared, and he said, part of the way that people deal with negative affect is they polish their leaves. What do I mean by that? When they're stressed, they go shopping. When they're stressed, they go into substance. When they're stressed, they start drinking. When they're stressed, they go into social media scrolling, which is just instant dopamine hits. And so he said you have to be cognizant of that to fertilize your roots. And that if you do a lot of these things and you focus on your enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning, you will help mitigate the burnout that you might feel during various periods of time. And so I end team meeting with that as a way to get you to think about the activity of why vision boards are important and how do you manifest what you're trying to achieve in 2025. And lastly, share this with the group, and this is just a picture of the presentation, that don't go at it alone. Your true self is not the sum of your achievements, it is the sum of the love of the people in your life. And you're part of an incredible community professionally, and the people to the left of you and to the right of you, and you'll experience more of that even on Thursday night with the energy around you. And take stock in the love of the community, and it will help you continue to push forward during periods of time when you feel like you don't have the energy to push forward. Cool? No. So there's team meeting today on Tuesday, December 3rd. I want to give you a little bit of a sneak preview of what's upcoming. Okay. In the next 2 weeks, I'm not sure it'll be next week, probably on the 17th. I just circled the 17th. You'll figure it out later. Although I will also tell you on the 17th, I'm going to give you my crystal ball outlook into 2025. What's going on? What do I see in the industry? I do it every year at the end of the year. Help people understand what is going on within the economy and the environment. What can we expect from our industry heading into 2025? I'll give you that on the 17th. Then we take 3 weeks off because the way the holiday calendar lays out, there will be a 3-week break in, I almost said spring break, during the holiday season. And then we will come back mid-January. I'll give you a state of the company, state of leadership, where it is we're making some big bets to pour into you and to pour into your businesses, and some things that we're going to be implementing in 25 to help you continue to grow and to achieve your productivity that you desire and the success that you want to achieve. And I'll provide that to you in early to mid-January, and allow you guys to ask questions of me. And by then, I'll have more people to introduce you. And cool. Awesome. Comments, questions for me? No? Don't go at it alone. For those that desire to build a vision board, I'm hanging out. We have the materials right on the other side of that wall. I'll turn on some music and would love to hang out. Other than that, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up today. Have a great day, guys.